Join me now, Trump 2020 senior campaign advisor, Lara Trump. Lara, I'm wondering if Biden's campaign is regretting letting him out of the basement because they don't really have much to show for it. Biden, he continues to flip-flop on some of the issues that he really cared about before. And then the rest of his messaging is all about attacking President Trump. He blames him for everything, including the weather now.
Yeah, well, and he also told us maybe they let the cat out of the bag. Maybe it is the Harris-Biden administration that we'll have if they get elected after all. No, look, they've been desperate to keep Joe Biden locked up for as long as possible. But we really kind of smoked him out from the Trump campaign because you see that not only do we have the president out all over the country, the vice president, but really our entire family, our surrogates. I've been on a bus tour in Florida for the past several days. So the problem that Joe Biden has is that people are getting back to normal life. We're coming out of this COVID pandemic and things are starting to return to normal. So he can't hide forever. We do have a debate coming up between the president and Joe Biden. I think that will be very interesting. But look, whenever you break it down, they want to keep him locked up because he's a gaffe machine. Half the time he doesn't know where he is or for which position he is running, but he also then has to defend his socialist policies on which he's running. And I think we all know we don't want America to become a socialist country. So that would be on full display if they had Joe out there all the time. They're trying to limit his exposure for sure.
Yeah, and Biden's campaign must actually be very concerned about the polling numbers. Of course, Biden is still ahead in a lot of the polls, but President Trump is gaining a lot of ground. And also, you have to remember the people who don't want to admit they're supporting Trump because they're afraid for that fact. And then the other part of it is if you look at numbers right now versus 2016, I mean, this is pretty promising for the Trump campaign.
Well, I think that they are definitely worried about the polling. Look, we know that when it comes to Donald Trump, the polls have never been accurate. In 2016, people went into a voting location, cast a ballot for Donald Trump, left and lied to the exit pollster even after having voted for him. I think now in 2020, I really even think that there are more people out there supporting the president than the polls accurately reflect. I'll tell you what I have happen to me all the time is that people come up to me and they say, I didn't vote for Donald Trump in 2016. I voted for Hillary Clinton in 2016, and now I'm voting for President Donald Trump. I was just in Florida, like I mentioned, on this amazing bus tour. The crowd, Stephanie, that we had as the Women for Trump campaign tour going out across Florida, I mean, we're talking hundreds of people. Joe Biden couldn't dream of crowds like this. So if the surrogates and us on our bright pink bus, if we're getting this many people out there, I can tell you the polling is wrong for Donald Trump. I think the Biden campaign knows that. I think they're probably getting very nervous.
Absolutely. There's certainly a lot of enthusiasm there, especially amid a pandemic, that people will still even come out, even though they're being told to stay home and not open their businesses and not send their kids to school, if you will. But what really stood out to me was support for President Trump among Hispanics. Biden is freaking out about it, so much so he went down to Florida to pander to Latinos and Hispanics. In fact, he played Despacito on his cell phone at a Hispanic heritage event. It was so outrageous and so embarrassing. I don't know if that was his idea. I have a feeling he doesn't even know that song. If it was a campaign staffer, they should be fired. It was that bad.
I mean, pandering 101, identity politics 101. You know, what Hispanic, what Latino person wouldn't know Despacito? How ridiculous was this? I don't know. I agree with you. I don't know who told him to do this, but it was absolutely terrible, cringeworthy. I mean, this is a guy who I am starting to feel sorry for, and I am supposed to be 100% on the other side. But when you feel bad for Joe Biden, you know that something's wrong. He is my opponent. He's on the other team. I can tell you something. When it comes to President Donald Trump, I think we're going to see a historic turnout among Hispanic voters on November 3rd for this president, because I'll tell you what I heard yesterday in Miami. So many Cuban Americans coming up to me and saying, I left a socialist communist regime to come to America. My family fled a country because of socialism. I don't want that happening in America, and I see what the Democrats are doing. My entire family is on board for President Donald Trump. people are taking this very seriously. So I can tell you that there's a lot of great Latino support for President Trump out there.
Yeah, I will say it was extremely cringe as you described it. It was hard to watch. Also, I think that was Biden's Hillary Clinton hot sauce moment. That's for sure.
Oh, yes. Well, they're very good at that, the Democrats. They love to pander.
Oh, absolutely. And I'm thinking all of my Hispanic, Latino friends, that's not going to change their vote. It's not going to change my vote, not going to change my mom's vote. So not going to work for him. Now, I want to hear a little bit more about the Women for Trump bus tour. So you've been going around the country. What's the next stop? And what have you heard from regular, everyday Americans that are coming out to support the president?
Yeah, well, like I said, we were in Florida. Next week, we're going to be in my home state of North Carolina. I can tell you, look, we are the Women for Trump bus tour, but we have men coming to our events as well. And I think the top line thing that I continue to hear from people is that they want safety and security in this country. They have been absolutely terrified to see the way that these Democrat mayors and governors have run their cities and states into the ground in many cases and let complete chaos reign, mob rule. Nobody wants that to happen in America, and they know full well that the only person who has stood up from the beginning against the violence, against the mob and the anarchy has been President Trump, who has offered to every mayor in every American city the National Guard to come in and quell the violence. People, if you don't have safety and security, nothing else matters. You know, ultimately, people understand that. So that, I think, is the top line that I've been hearing out there. People are excited to get our great economy back. We've added 10.4 million new jobs in the past 4 months. We're seeing that V-shaped recovery in the economy thanks to President Donald Trump. And look, people are taking this very seriously. They know that this is a consequential election. They know that Joe Biden is the Trojan horse for the socialists and the Democrat Party. That's what they want to bring to the United States of America and fundamentally transform it. They know that is not going to happen. America will never be a socialist country because we're re-electing President Trump.
Lara, in the intro, I played a clip from Biden's weird drive-in town hall for CNN. It was pretty strange. And he's, again, attacking President Trump over COVID-19, which is what we kind of talked about. But now him and Kamala Harris are telling people maybe they wouldn't get the vaccines. It's like they're instilling fear in the American people. And that's not what we need right now. And we have a video example of this. Roll tape.
I'm more hopeful than ever in the power of science to get us there. But one thing is certain. We can't allow politics to interfere with the vaccine in any way. Americans have had to endure President Trump's incompetence and dishonesty when it comes to testing and personal protective equipment. We can't afford to repeat those fiascos when it comes to a vaccine, when it occurs.
Lara, so it doesn't matter how you feel about President Trump. It's not like he's in the lab making the vaccine. And I think it's pretty reckless and dangerous for Biden and Harris to come out and say these type of things, especially when Americans are on edge. And we've seen the polling that suggests that Americans are very concerned about a vaccine. So this just doesn't help.
Yeah, it is incredibly dangerous, incredibly reckless, and it's kind of mind-boggling. Joe Biden just said there he doesn't want politics to get in the way of a vaccine. What are you doing, Joe? This is exactly what Joe Biden and Kamala Harris are doing right now. They're making Americans fearful of a vaccine that could potentially save lives that they know will be the reason that America fully gets back to normal. But see, they don't want that right now. They're trying to politicize a pandemic because really that's the only hand they have to play. They know nobody wants to vote for their policies. They know that the president has actually delivered on all of his promises and been so great for America. I think it is absolutely insane that we have people running for president and vice president of the United States that are trying to tell people that they shouldn't get a vaccine because Donald Trump was involved in any way and his administration was involved in any way with it. How reckless, how dangerous.
Yeah, it's ludicrous. Well, Lara, thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate your time.
You got it. Thanks a lot.
Want to see more videos like this? Click on the link below and subscribe to One America News on YouTube. And call your cable provider and kindly demand that One America News is added to your lineup. Call and subscribe today.